thank you for, allowing me to talk to you today. I've really actually been looking forward to it. I just want to learn a lot. I know there's a lot of issues with the firefighting and the emergency care in Red Deer, and I don't know enough. And I think a lot of Red Deer feels right now that they don't know enough. I really wanted to get your perspective. So just to start off, can you just tell Red Deer what you do, your role, and where you fit in all this?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, thank you for reaching out because I'm actually very excited to talk to you about this as well. And I agree, it is a very serious issue that I don't think people understand quite enough about. I think people are understanding more and more as time goes on. But yeah, I'm Leanna Robertson. I actually am a wife of a firefighter on the department and also mom to another firefighter on the department. So I have a very personal connection to the fire department.
Mhm.
And yeah, this issue obviously impacts my family
Yeah.
directly. Outside of that, I'm a family member of the fire department and then also a concerned citizen of Red Deer. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I would like just to share a little bit of a story, just in my own life. And I've never told this story without getting emotional. So I do apologize in
Oh,
advance. So my son, he's 10 years now. And so he was about 6 years old. No, 6 months old. We were visiting in Grand Prairie up in a town called Sexsmith, which is about 15 minutes outside of Grand Prairie. And all our kids were fairly healthy, the normal thing that you go through as a parent. We woke up in the middle of the night to him seizing,
oh my.
and like I said, I get
Yeah.
emotional every time. It just
Yeah.
hits me. And he had a 17-minute seizure,
Oh my
and
goodness.
so my wife woke up because women have an intuition. Um, I woke up the second later. She called 911, and I grabbed my phone. I was trying to help, and I'm like, I need to record this just for the doctor to know what's going on so they can see what's happening. The ambulance got there. They must have been going 150 because they came from Grand Prairie, and I think it was within 15 minutes.
Wow.
And he was gray. He was lifeless. And, we get to the hospital, and they lay him out, and his eyes were just dead. And I thought he had died. And, sorry. I just remember the moment when I thought it was going to be okay, where he was just looking out, and then all of a sudden his eyes just looked at me. And just that moment, it's just like I knew everything was going to be okay. And like the amount of time they got the oxygen to him, and they got the everything that emergency services does, that I don't even know what they did because everything was such a blur. It's like 5 minutes could have made that difference, right? And so it's very emotional for me. I have a very hard time when it comes to children suffering, especially my children. And so every time I think about that, it just hits me. I'm going to try to tell you one more story. Hope I can get through that one. And this one is in Red Deer. So my daughter Lux, it means light. She was she was 1 day old. We got her home from the hospital, and my other kids are taken care of by grandma, and this is just a special time with just Lux, me, and my wife, and she stops breathing. She starts blue, and just like she's struggling so much, and call the ambulance. And she must have been breathing maybe 10%. Like she was getting a tiny bit, but she was blue. And so we called the ambulance, and the fire truck was the first one to come. And they were there probably within 3 minutes. And I remember there was about 6 men coming into our house with full boots on, ready for whatever. They put the mask on her, the little infant mask. They got the infant defibrillator in case she needed that. And, got the oxygen levels up, took her to the hospital, and I thank the Lord she's okay, right?
Yeah.
And I tell those stories just to share that until something like that happens to you, you don't see them. They're there. You're thankful they're there, but it's one of those things where until that happens, if we didn't have the services right now where they took 15 minutes instead of 3 minutes, my daughter might have been dead.
Yes.
Right. And I'm going to try to compose myself here because this is an important issue. It's important to me, and I think it's important to Red Deer. And it's very important to me that the next time a parent calls, the next time maybe I have to call, there are people ready to serve, right?
Absolutely.
I was talking to my son about 2 months ago, just, figuring out how to do this podcasting thing. And so I was interviewing him just as a test. And I said, son, what do you want to do when you grow up? His first answer was a pizza guy. I was a pizza guy when I was 14. His second answer was a firefighter.
Yeah.
Right. And I was sharing with you earlier how, as a kid, I wanted to be a firefighter. And then
Yeah.
how there's still a little part of me that nostalgically and would be like, that would be pretty cool if I could do that today. And so I'm very thankful for the people that do this. I can't imagine if the PTSD for me on those two little events are so strong, what they have to deal with on a daily basis.
Absolutely. I honestly, Calvin, I'm so touched that you shared that with me. And this is exactly why we're doing this.
Yeah.
This is exactly why we're doing this. This is an important fight. It is a big problem for our city. And we won't have these success stories if this problem persists.
Yeah.
My heart goes out to you. I'm so thankful that your kids are both okay.
I'm very thankful too. And it's just, I don't want to think of those things again because it brings up so much, right?
Yeah.
And there's very few things that can just trigger me. But when it comes to my kids and when it comes to the life-saving advocacy and intervention that they were required, like there is nothing else that, as far as government, like that's a core thing. It has to be there.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. And so there's still people that don't know what's going on right here.
Yes.
And so what is the current situation right now? Why are all these lawn signs up throughout the city saying, safe staffing? Can you go into a little bit as far as just, is there a little bit of history behind this? And can you just share where we are today?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So the staffing issue in Red Deer has actually been an issue that's been going on for years.
Uh-huh.
And the firefighters on this department, firefighter paramedics, they are dual trained here, have been sounding the alarm for quite a few years. You haven't seen it quite as publicly as it has been recently, but you can go back into, I don't know, I think 2021-ish was one of the first articles I found in the Advocate, Red Deer News Now, where the firefighters were saying, like, we're short-staffed, we're doing the best that we can, so on and so forth. We need more staff in this city. The city is growing, the department is not. So then this has been going on very quietly behind the scenes for quite a few years. The reason that it has become such an explosion now is because in January of this year, in November, the council approved it. In January, they implemented what's called dynamic staffing. Okay. So dynamic staffing is a policy that in 2024, the overtime costs on the fire department skyrocketed. And the firefighter paramedics in this city have been putting a Band-Aid on the staffing issue that's been going on for years by filling overtime shifts. So instead of taking a truck out of service, or instead of running manning short out of Station 2 or any station in the city, they would get called in for overtime and they would answer the call. Uh-huh. They answered the call because they knew if they didn't answer the call, that truck would not be in service and the city would be impacted by it. So they did it for years and years, and they were getting exhausted. And they were like, sometimes my husband would go to work at 8:00 in the morning for his day shift. He's supposed to be done work at 6:00 at night. He would stay until midnight, and then he would come home, sleep, and go back to work for 8:00 in the morning. Like, it just wasn't sustainable. But the reason the staffing issue was happening in the first place is because we're not backfilling positions. So long-term leaves aren't being filled. Retirements aren't being filled. People who have quit are not being filled. So these positions are not being filled. They were just filling the gap with overtime shifts instead. So when obviously our overtime costs exploded, they decided that we have to do something about this. So they approved, all the current council members and mayor signed off on this dynamic staffing policy. It's an operational policy. They implemented it on January 6th. And what it says is that minimum staffing on Red Deer Fire Department is currently 31 per shift. Let's say that I don't know what the exact numbers are, but let's say that there's 42 members on a shift. There's a A, B, C, D shift.
Okay.
31 is the minimum staffing to run a shift. So if you have 42 people on a shift, let's say, and some of them are on training, they're away on training, or some of them are on long-term disabilities or short-term disabilities, or they're sick, or they're on vacation, things like that, you run into your 31 very quickly. So what dynamic staffing says now is that if we drop below 31, instead of calling people in for overtime shifts, we will pull engine 2 out of service. We'll shut the station down or run that truck with only 2 members on it, which is extremely dangerous for the firefighters and the public. If you run an engine with 2 members on it, the minimum standard for an engine is 4 members.
Mm-hmm.
If you run that engine with 2 members on it, for example, if they show up at a working structure fire, they can't start suppression until a second engine arrives. They can't do anything with 2 people. So let's say you have a family who's trapped inside of a house. They can't go in and get that family out until they have the right resources to do it. Now, what do you think the firefighters in Red Deer are going to do? Of course, they're going to go. So this is where injuries happen, and this is where deaths happen, because they don't have it in them to just stand outside and watch a house burn down with people in it. So dynamic staffing will pull engine 2 out of service or bring it down to 2 members instead of calling in overtime. And this is to curb the overtime costs. So we still haven't filled any positions. We still haven't dealt with the issue, but we've ripped the Band-Aid off that was covering it to begin with. And now we're left with.
How many staff do we need to fix this? Like, how many firefighters do we need to hire?
You know, I don't know that number. I honestly have no idea what the magic number is. I think that that's obviously a question for the administration or for the union, or to me, in my mind, like as a member of the public, I think you've got to fill all those positions that you didn't fill for years. And you still have an additional set of members that are going to need to bring this department up to catch up to the growth of this city. So it seems like a significant amount.
So correct me if I'm wrong. I think they spent about $3.5 million on overtime.
Overtime, 3.2 million in 2024. So 3.2.
The thing I don't understand is that overtime will pay for so many staff.
So
like I don't get it.
Yeah, 100%. I have this here that you're welcome to read through in multiple letters to council, but I actually did the math on the 3.2 million, and they could have hired 29 firefighters with 3.2 million.
How many, sorry?
29. So
I did a chart here. Let me just pull it up. So I was going through the annual report, and I don't know if you've seen this yet, but so in 2021 and 2022, the provincial government changed the way funding was. So Red Deer took a bit of a hit, about $1.5 million. Since that point, our revenue on ambulance dispatch has gone up $7 million.
Oh, wow.
The city is profiting $5 million more than they were just a couple of years ago.
Wow. I did not know that.
And it's all in the annual report. And now I don't know the background behind that. Maybe there's a reason and they changed bookkeeping. But my first, I looked at it, and I'll just show you that. I looked at it, I'm like, this makes no sense.
Yeah.
And so have they changed the way the numbers are flowing? And so maybe they have additional departments or additional considerations. I actually want to be fair to them.
Totally.
But it's something that I didn't understand, because I'm like, if we are short money, but yet we're breaking in $5 million more just through ambulance calls, why? It pays for itself. This is a dream to the city. This is self-service funding. This is what the city wants.
Absolutely.
And so I don't understand this. And I know there's ebbs and flows, so you can't just take the high number and go based off that.
Yeah,
but I'm looking at the annual report and I have a lot of questions if I'm in.
100%. Yeah, I've actually never looked at this. This, though, I do want to point out the new AHS 3 additional ambulances contract. AHS did approve 3 new ambulances for Red Deer as peak cars.
Okay.
So these peak cars, now you may have seen quite a bit on the city's website. They have a breakdown of what dynamic staffing is,
Okay.
so on and so forth. And in there, they mention that they've hired 32 staff. Now, what they don't mention is AHS offered a contract of 3 new peak ambulances for Red Deer.
Okay.
It took 32 new staff to man those peak ambulances. So those peak ambulances, they weren't covered by, they're firefighter paramedics, but they weren't firefighter trained. Some of them have gone through fire training now at this point, but the 32 new staff were hired for the peak ambulances. They
So
didn't
it's like two
cover.
different departments that aren't overlapped, or?
No, they are firefighters as well.
Okay.
So they are going to eventually be on the suppression side as well as on the ambulance.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the number is as far as how many of them have gone through fire training at this point. I know
Okay.
some of them have. So those 32 staff members, though, whether they're the suppression or not, they covered the 3 new ambulances. They
Okay.
never covered any of the vacant positions that were already
Mhm.
open. So sure, we were able to staff these 3 ambulances.
Mhm.
However, we've still not filled the gap
Well, and
that
we
was
still have dynamic staffing. And you
exactly.
would think that, okay, well, we filled the gap, then the dynamic staffing can go away.
Well, this gap was prior to dynamic staffing. So dynamic
Okay.
staffing, the 3 new ambulances, it looks like here on your graph that they came into the city in 2024. I believe they came in before that.
And they might have, because that 24 annual report might have referred back,
Yeah.
looking backwards, right? So,
Yeah. So dynamic staffing was approved in November of 2024
Right.
in a council meeting, a closed door council meeting. They went behind doors for that,
Mhm.
the approval of that policy, which I don't understand why. And I don't understand why they won't present the minutes from that
Mhm.
meeting, because it's a operational policy that they've approved. And then in January 6th of this year,
Mhm.
that's when the policy took effect. So our peak ambulances are still running, but they're not filling the gaps that
Yeah.
were already there.
Okay.
So, and you're 31, your manning, when your manning is at 31, you have 10 of those 31 members are on the ambulances, because we have 5 ambulances at each, like one at each station.
Okay.
So 10 people are on the ambulance. If you're on the ambulance, you don't jump to suppression in case of a house fire or something like that. You are on the ambulance. The one is a platoon chief. So there's 11 people right there that are already spoken for.
Mhm.
The rest are on the engines, on suppression. So
Okay.
now it takes a minimum of 15 to 17 firefighters to fight a very basic fire.
Mhm.
Like I'm talking a garage fire
Yeah.
or a very basic single family dwelling. No crazy stuff going on. It takes that. So now you've drained the whole city of resources on one fire. Now, what happens if your baby is having
Yeah.
a seizure?
Yeah.
There's no one left.
Well, and what happens if there's a fire that's going on and the firefighters are attending places like mine, dealing with the event that's already happening?
Exactly.
And like, I know that they have mapped out where the fire stations are, and it's all based on response time. They took out Deer Park's fire station and moved it down to Lancaster based on response time.
Yeah.
And which I thought was insane. They should have just built another one down in Vanier area, but that's here nor there.
And now it's expanded
And
even
now
more.
it's expanded, yeah, even more. So it's just like these gaps. It just seems like it seems like we have the overtime money, we have the increase as far as funds. This city's a great city. Why aren't we focusing on the core things?
Yes.
Like this is one of my mantras as far as running for city council, okay? And it's kind of boring, but it's just like, just prioritize things. And
Yes.
sometimes in a city, you have to make hard decisions and say, we can't be everything to everyone because we have this core thing that needs to be done, right? And it's hard to say that because everyone that goes to try to get elected tries to appeal to everyone, tries to fit a niche. This is everyone's niche. You call the
Yes,
911 and you need them to be there.
exactly.
And so I want to be gracious to the city councilors. Have any of them, like, I don't think any of them want this to happen. I think it's kind of like, well, this is where we are and we need solutions. And this was a solution that was presented to them and it makes sense. And I'm not behind the table, so I can't see that behind the closed door meeting.
Yeah.
So I want to be gracious to them. But let me just ask, has any of them reached out and explained what's going on beyond just what you see on, the news or
No,
really?
no. And that's one of the major disappointing things about this whole situation.
Hmm.
They've just been so completely silent on the whole situation. I have written over 20 letters to council asking numerous questions, pointing out numerous facts, presenting them with research that I've done,
Hmm.
data that I've collected, asking the whys, asking why station 2? Like, this is a great question that actually a lot of people in the public are asking. Why is it station 2? So the answer that we've heard, not from council, no one's ever replied to me
Hmm.
personally anyway, but what I've seen in some of the communication that's been released by, I think the fire chief released a opinion piece in the paper
Hmm.
last week, and different, the dynamic staffing page, things like that. They say that station 2 is the most coverable by other stations. So I went with that one a few months ago. I thought, well, what what does each station look like in the city? I would like to take a deeper dive into this. So I actually sent a FOIP request to the
Hmm.
city of Red Deer and asked for all of the call volume data for each. I wanted it broken down by each station
Hmm.
from 2015 to present. Because I thought 10 years will give you a pretty good view of what's been going on in the city. And from that FOIP request, I found out that Station 1 is, first of all, actually, let me back up for a second. They only supplied me with fire data. They told me that they don't keep track of EMS data, that AHS keeps track of AHS data, which I don't buy that. I think these are
Yes.
these are City of Red Deer employees. They are
You certainly
firefighter
have access to
paramedics.
it.
You keep data on EMS calls. Don't tell me that you don't.
Yeah.
But that's fine. So I'm basing my data off of fire calls.
Hmm.
Station 1 is the busiest station in Red Deer. Station
So
2,
where is? Can you
station,
just
yeah,
define where they
yeah.
are?
Station 1 is downtown.
Okay.
Station 2, of course, is on 67th Street, right by the dock. And that is the second busiest station in the
Hmm.
city. And it saw a 70% increase in call volume from 2022 to 2024. Station 5 is over in the north side of the city, Johnstone, and it covers the industrial area, the
Yeah.
highway, things like that. So they claim that Station 2 is able to be covered by Station 5 or Station 1. Well, Station 1 is the busiest station in the city.
Yeah.
So chances are pretty decent that Station 1 is already tied up
Yeah.
on some other emergency in the city, whether it's a fire emergency or a medical emergency.
Hmm.
So Station 5, which services the biggest industrial area in the city and parts of the highway, chances are pretty good Station 5 is also
Yeah.
already tied up on another incident. Depending on time of day, maybe, I don't know.
Sure. Well, but things don't happen. Like, everything happens at once. You get
Yes.
a storm and you get so many calls, and
Yes.
you get, the moon, full moon's out, and you get all
Yes.
these calls, which is a real thing.
Exactly.
It's not like you can just be like, well, just because Station 5 and they can cover. It's the fact that you're going to have all these events happening at once, and when they need to be covered, they're not going to be there.
Exactly. Exactly.
And and we might even be at the point where so far it's worked out, but our city is
We are.
12,000 people more than it was 4 years
Yes.
ago, and that is
Yes.
not going to stop.
Exactly.
And so where is the forethought of is that going to work when we get to 115, 116, where is it going to collapse?
Exactly. That's exactly it. And when you're pulling, I think what something that people Red Deer don't understand is the focus is on Station 2,
Hmm.
but Station 2 is being covered by all the other stations in the city.
Hmm.
And generally speaking, it's going to have to be covered by Station 3, which is over by the Goulet-Jones, or Station 4, which is by St. Joe's High School.
Yeah.
So those are coming from quite a distance. So Station 3 by the Goulet-Jones you send them out to a basic house fire during rush hour traffic.
Hmm.
How long do you think it's going to take them to get to Oriole Park or
Yeah.
to get to Johnstone, or not Johnstone, sorry, Highland Green, or any of those areas that Station 2
Hmm.
covers? Like, so everyone, and then when Station 3 is gone covering Station two's area, who's covering Station three's area? Who's there for Lancaster? Who's there for Inglewood?
Hmm.
Who's there for all those areas? So this is a full city issue. It hugely impacts Station two's area because they are left without coverage all
Hmm.
the time. However, we are pulling the coverage from all other
Yeah.
areas of the city. This impacts every corner of the city.
Well, I'm just thinking of just business or engineer. I'm not an engineer, but just thinking of engineering and just different aspects where it's like you do not build a fail safe for the average. You build a fail safe for the worst possible scenario, right? If you have pressure going through a pipe, you don't say, well, our fail safe is going to be what just normally it just goes up a little bit. We're going to have fail safe and it's going to shut it down. No, you have to build that fail safe for the worst possible scenario so that no one gets injured and no one dies. And it seems like they're building a fail safe here for the average based on, they're shutting it down.
Yes.
And if everyone's busy, if there's a big snowstorm, like I came back from Calgary in the worst snowstorm that we had, and we didn't see it coming, and we were praying the whole way,
Yeah.
and it was the worst that I've ever seen. I could not believe that there were not more accidents on the road. There were people that died that night, and every single department, I'm sure, was out that night.
Yeah.
Like that, there was no snowplows on the road. The city got hit and wasn't prepared,
Yeah.
and so that's the scenario where we need to build the failsafe for, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
and if you're pulling from overtime staff that are already overworked, that aren't rested, they're going to make mistakes.
Exactly.
So what are we doing?
Exactly. And the problem with this situation now is that it has escalated to such a crisis that we hadn't started to build on the gaps that were already in the department. And now it's a huge problem now.
Hmm.
So now what is current council, the new council coming up, the new mayor coming up, how do you even start
Hmm.
digging out of this problem? And that kind of circles me back around to when you had asked me about my interaction with council
Hmm.
and if I've heard anything from any of them. So I, at the very beginning of all of this, I started sending letters to them right away when dynamic staffing was implemented, because I can tell you that my husband has been a volunteer firefighter, paramedic, career firefighter, literally since I started dating him. And we
Hmm.
just celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary. So
Congrats.
it's been a lot of years that I've been a part of the fire family. And now I have my son who's also joined the fire department. And there's normal worries when you are a wife of a firefighter, a mom of a
Hmm.
firefighter. There's all those normal things. You don't dwell on them, but they're always in the back of your mind. Something could happen, but you kind of start trusting. You trust the department. You
Hmm.
trust the other firefighters that they're
Hmm.
working with. You build this insane family dynamic.
Hmm.
The fire department family is like no other. I can't even explain
Hmm.
what it's like to be a part of. And you sleep at night because you know that they're going to be
Yeah.
safe doing the best that they can with
There's
the
always someone
best
that has
people.
their back.
There's always someone there. When dynamic staffing came into effect and they started going to work, and I knew that they were short staffed that night, or I knew that engine was pulled out of service that night, or I knew the whole station was shut down that night,
Hmm.
I was losing sleep at night. I wasn't sleeping at night, and I didn't understand why. I didn't really put two and two
Yeah.
together until my husband asked me one time, because I wrote a letter to council from a personal perspective, and he's read the letter, and then he said to me, are you okay? And I
Hmm.
was like, you know what? I don't think I am. And I didn't even realize that it was impacting me as much as it
Hmm.
was when I couldn't sleep when he was on night shift. So all of his night shifts, I don't sleep anymore when he's on night shift because I just
No.
don't know what the night's going to bring. And
Yeah.
I don't want that knock on my door.
Yeah.
It's, it's, I've never had those fears before.
Hmm.
I've had all the normal fears, but I sleep at night. I've
Yeah.
never had these fears that stop me from sleeping at night.
How's it affecting like the firemen and firewomen. Like
Oh,
I know, like obviously, I mean, you tell a story of not being able to sleep at night, and I can relate when things are going on in life. It's chaotic, and then yeah, you realize one day, oh, that's what it is, but you can't go and fix this. It's not like
yeah,
you can go to therapy
yeah,
and talk about
exactly.
this and fix it,
Yeah.
right? And it's so do you know how they're doing? How's the morale?
I would say that morale is probably pretty low right now. I think
Hmm.
it's hard on everyone. It's hard on the families. I've never seen the fire family come together as much as they have through all of this. So I think that there's kind of two sides to it. I think that it's been very hard on a lot of people.
Hmm.
I think they're also putting in a lot of time and emotional time and physical time into doing whatever they can to
Hmm.
get the message out and to hopefully try and reverse this policy and not
Hmm.
have to work under these conditions. At the same time, I just cannot believe how much it's pulled us together as a family.
Sure.
And our families are all out there, like we're all out there handing out the signs and in
Hmm.
our yellow t-shirts and door knocking in Station Two's area. And like there's everyone is coming out and everyone's helping as best they can. And
Hmm.
the community support has been incredible. I mean, they're getting knocks on the
Yeah.
fire hall doors with, treat baskets and just thank you cards and just the comments on Facebook and things like they feel the support, they feel the love, but it's hard. They're exhausted.
Hmm.
They don't want to fight. They do not want to fight. They just want to go to work and be safe doing it
Yeah.
and be able to serve the public the way they're trained to do.
I find that anyone can do almost anything if they put their mind to it, and they can go through a period of time. Like just in my own life, like sometimes I just get so busy, and I get so busy, and I talk to my family, and I mean, it's not like a firefighter where I'm putting my life at risk in a sense, but it's like, in the next 8 weeks, I am not going to be at home, and I'm sorry, but we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's 8 weeks. It's a set time,
Yeah.
and the firefighters, they don't have that luxury right now.
Yeah.
And so I can't imagine, like, I understand why you wouldn't be sleeping at night. If
Yeah.
if 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 they knew that, hey, this was going to be 3 more months that we need to deal with, and hopefully it is only going to be 3 more months,
Yes.
but if it's only going to be 3 more months that they're going to deal with this, I'm sure they would pull together and be like, we've got this.
Yeah.
We're not gonna end this on a low note. We're gonna end this on a high note. They would actually probably become more efficient because
Yes.
they see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes. Absolutely.
And I've seen so much community support for this. I'm not one to put lawn signs on my lawn, and it's kind of funny. I'm running for council, so I have to have some. But this is like the only time where there's an issue where I'm like, okay, maybe I will,
Well,
maybe I
I've
will
got
do
them.
that. Well, it's just one of those things where it's like I'm pretty private. Not everyone around me needs to know who I am and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, right? But it just seems like this is just it's a right and wrong sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I just go back to, this is a core function of the city.
Yeah.
And if the core function of the city aren't operating, your city isn't operating.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And that whole thought process, like you couldn't have said it any better. They just don't know what the end to this is, which
Yeah.
makes it seem like more of an uphill battle, more of an uphill climb. And you're just like, and no one's going to say it out loud, but all anyone thinks about is this is going to take a tragedy before someone's going to listen and
Hmm.
change this policy. And that is the last thing that anyone
Hmm.
wants to happen. I but it's just such a
Yeah.
dangerous situation. And with one of the only responses I ever got to count from council was at the very beginning of this whole thing. I think it was maybe the second or third letter that I sent to council after this started. I got a reply
Hmm.
asking if I could supply him with some information
Hmm.
on municipalities in Western Canada that follow NFPA 1710, which is the standard that
Hmm.
lays out what staffing levels should be on fire department apparatus and what their response times should be and things
Yeah.
like that based on a lot of
And
data and
that's a
science
fair
facts.
ask.
100%. And so I did send the ask was for Western Canadian.
Yeah.
I actually sent 4 Alberta cities that are fire departments, that are career fire departments, that cite NFPA 1710 as their staffing guideline for apparatus. So, namely, no engine should ever leave the station without a minimum of 4 firefighters on it. And so I sent those through to council and said, I have, not only do I have Western Canadian, I have Alberta cities who cite this. And I also sent them their operational guidelines. I sent them page references to those guidelines where 1710 is referenced. I could not have laid it out any clearer. And I've never gotten a response to that communication. And this policy is still in place. So
I'm not going to ask you to overly speculate, but why do you think that is? Like, I go through my own head. I'm like, okay, am I just naive? And are there things when you get in council, you have to sign all this paperwork and no one ever says, I'm not going to sign that because they just got elected. And I'm in my mind, I'm just like, why does that happen? I know it's hard sometimes for them to respond to specific things, but it seems like they should have all been there.
Yes.
It's not like this has been an issue in the last 2 weeks.
Yes, exactly. So I have a couple of theories. Obviously, it's speculation on my part too. I don't really know.
And we're not going to throw anyone under the bus specifically. Like, this is a full council thing. So,
yes, it is.
And even to the point where I think we need to be gracious with them because we weren't behind the closed doors. But I'm just racking my head trying to find out why. So
I do think that when the overtime exploded the way that it did, obviously someone has to answer that question. Why do we have a $3.2 million overtime bill on our fire department? Like, what is going on? And I think that our fire department leadership or administration team somehow sold this idea to council. How? I don't know. It was all done behind closed doors. I've tried FOIPing it. I've tried.
Someone had to sell them the idea.
Someone had to sell them the idea, and they bought it. And I think that they bought it because the grace that I'll give council in this is that you should trust your administration teams. You should be able to talk to your department heads, and you should be able to trust the information that they're giving you. And you should be able to vote on operational policies, trusting that you are getting accurate information. I don't think they got accurate information, and I don't think that they asked any questions outside of the information that they were given. But they shouldn't have had to. They should have been able to trust the information they were given.
We'll never know.
We won't know, will we?
One thing that really bothers me, and it's a real big pet peeve, is that people get elected and they have all these good ideas and they want to do a good job. And I feel like it seems like the elected people forget that they don't actually work for administration.
Yes.
They work for the people that elect them.
Yes.
And the city is a corporation. It has to run like a business and have all these departments and all that. But if you're elected, you're sitting on a board and you actually need to have some tension there because you are a representative of the people. You're not a representative of the city. You work for the city. You want to see the city do well. Like, your whole purpose of getting elected is because you love the city. But,
absolutely.
But it just seems like they get elected and they forget which team they're on.
Exactly.
And there needs to be pushback, and maybe there is, and they just came to a solution. And I know sometimes behind closed doors, it'll be like, okay, well, we need to come out of here all pushing the same direction. So, it's going to likely be 5 or 6-3 vote, but like, just for the sake of the city, let's say it's unanimous, which would be a shame if that's what happened. But
well, and I've questioned that. I've questioned that in my letters. Why was this a behind closed door meeting? What made this a behind closed door meeting? I don't understand that. I've also mentioned that exact thing in some of my letters. I'm like, I feel like I need to remind you that you are an elected official. You are elected by the people of this city, and we are screaming at you, asking you why this is happening, and you are not answering us at all. So how is this okay? I don't understand.
Hmm.
Like, make me understand this. And I've presented so much data to them on these standards and why we should be running 4 people on our engines. And I've asked so many questions. I've questioned them on the codes that they state that they're basing this policy on.
Hmm.
HERF, for example, high intensity residential fires. That is a building code
Hmm.
that lays out what window well depths should be,
Yeah.
much space in between. That does not tell us how quickly our fire engines should be responding to a call or how many people should be on that engine.
Yeah.
You can't put an operational policy on your fire department based on building codes. Like, how does
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
make any sense? And
And regardless of building codes, there's a fire there. You have to put it out. Right? It's not like you can magically go back and be like, well, that house on fire is not up to code, so I guess we don't need to deal with this.
yeah,
What's
exactly.
going on?
Exactly. Yeah, I've asked all these questions and none have been answered. None, not a single
Hmm.
one. So yeah, I mean, I do think that it was somehow sold to them. I think they somehow bought it. I think they didn't ask any questions about it. But my next question is, when the firefighters started really yelling about this, like really raising their voices about this, when all of our family members have started really raising their voice about this, really being loud about it,
Hmm.
when we started knocking on doors, when 86% of your active fire department members over 2 days cast a vote to a resounding 99% of non-confidence
Hmm.
in their administration team. How has council remained silent?
When was that vote?
The vote was in
I
March.
remember it was in March. Okay.
99%.
Trying
86%
to
of the department came out and voted.
I'm trying to process. I'm like, okay, if I was in that situation, I'm trying to put myself in that situation. And like I said, I'm trying to be gracious to council here. Is it just an ego thing where it's like, oh,
You
well,
know,
we put this administration in place and we're not taking them out.
yes.
And I'm not going to speak negatively about, anyone that's in that leadership or whatever like that. I don't know their story. Maybe they want to talk to me as well. And but I'm sure you would like to talk to them too.
I have said that multiple times. I've said I would love for the administration team to invite me in
Yeah.
and have a conversation about this. I would love for them to have a public forum or a town hall or
Hmm.
something to address this matter. Like, let us ask our questions,
Hmm.
answer them to our faces. But they don't. They remain silent. Everyone on the team remains silent. Administration, council, mayor,
Hmm.
everyone is remaining silent. And I do partially think that, again, speculation. I don't know what
Yeah.
happens behind closed doors, but it almost does feel like council has decided we can't back this up now. Like, we're too deep into it.
Hmm.
We have to back this admin team. Why? I have no idea. But they've decided to double down and back
Hmm.
this admin team. And that's where things really took a turn when the vote of non-confidence was completely ignored. I started a petition online, which has been completely ignored. When all of these things were failing, that's when they decided we have to get out to the public. We have to. Social media can only take you so far. So there was Facebook posts and there was Instagram posts
Hmm.
and there were things like that, but you're still only reaching a small demographic of the city. So next is, okay, we have to get out in the public
Hmm.
in person now. So we started knocking on doors and we started in Station Two's area. And we had bright yellow t-shirts on and we were knocking on doors with our pamphlets and
Yeah.
letting people know this is happening in your area and this is why it impacts you.
Hmm.
And this is what you can do to help. And then the yard signs started
Yeah.
happening and the posts in the newspaper and the Facebook posts and all of those things to try and get the word out that, no one in the city is listening to these
Hmm.
guys. I have never in my life heard of a fire department who is having to go knock on public doors
Hmm.
to have a discussion about public safety or putting yard signs out or starting petitions or
Hmm.
any of the things that have happened when you have no one on your team
Yeah.
listening to you.
And it's not like this is this isn't like a union negotiation, right?
No,
And like this is
no,
just a purely safety issue. This affects no matter what political sphere you feel like you're on. It's not like they're asking for a 20% increase over 2 years or whatever.
exactly.
This is just we need more people to back us up.
Exactly. I've heard that comment a
Yes.
few times on some of my Facebook posts and things like that. Had people comment, "Oh, this is a union ploy. This is a
Yeah.
union thing. That unions do this, blah blah blah." And my argument to that is, A, no member of the union was a part of
Yeah.
that meeting.
Yeah.
No member of the union signed their name to this policy. No member of this fire department support this policy.
Hmm.
You can ask any single one of them. They are in danger, and this community is in danger. And that has nothing to
Yeah.
do with contract
Yeah.
negotiations, nothing at all. Like, it's just wild to me that anyone would even, this is so far outside of a union
It's so
issue.
clear to me that maybe they think the community will take it that way, but I just feel like the council's just been off base on so many areas lately, and
Definitely.
I just feel like we need. I mean, I am running for city council,
Yep.
and I am pleased that we were able to have this conversation because it certainly helps me learn. Like my
Yeah.
goal in this is simply to learn. I have a lot of questions. I don't understand it. I still don't
Yep.
understand a lot of it,
Yeah.
but you have to know they have my support. Like this is
Yeah.
wrong. And like I said, like if you're not doing the core services, then you're not a city. You're not,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
You can have all the parties downtown and all the, events and grants and all that kind of stuff for this fun stuff. You're not a city because you can't do the basics, right?
Exactly.
And
I
it's just
totally
like it's
agree.
just no different than your own home,
Yeah.
right? If you're just painting the walls while your foundation is crumbling, might look good for a few weeks, but you're falling down. Like this isn't going to
Yeah.
work.
Exactly.
So one other thing I wanted to say was, I mean, just as you were going on, I just had the thought of the way council responded to this, the way, you know, administration supported them despite the 99% vote. No change. Just the three hardest words. I was wrong. I
Yeah.
was wrong. And I don't know why I know why it's so hard to say that, but it takes a tearing down of yourself, your ego, having children in your house and realizing, hey, maybe I need to go apologize to my child because I was irritated and I realize now I just need to eat something.
Yep.
And it's the same for them and I was wrong. And it's you have to be in the position if you're going to be elected to say that from time to time,
Yeah.
right? And you need to fight the things that you're principled about, yeah, but there's a point when you have to back off and be like, I think I need to take a relook at this. And I
Yes.
truly hope that maybe even this conversation will inspire some of them, even before the election. Maybe this can be solved before the election.
Yes.
And maybe if I'm elected, I will never need to deal with it because
Yes.
council changed their opinion,
Yes.
right? It's not like that hadn't happened in the past couple of weeks
Exactly.
with a
Exactly.
different issue. So in a
Exactly.
sense, I have faith that council can recognize that.
They
They
can.
just need to feel it so deeply,
Yeah.
right?
100%. And that is the one thing, is that this policy it can be reversed today.
Yeah.
It should have been reversed 6 months ago. We should not have this policy in
Yeah.
place. Is there a staffing problem on the fire department?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Is that going to take dollars and time to fix?
Yeah.
Absolutely. But this policy is not the way to go about that at all.
Well, let me tell you something. And this is just a practical aside. People say, well, how are you going to pay for it? Okay, well, I've
Hmm.
already talked about the core services, and that's just like an ongoing long term thing, right? I don't know if people know, but the carbon tax isn't in effect anymore.
Yeah.
No matter what you think about that, this city is saving millions of dollars, and they haven't talked about that once. Where's that money going?
Yeah. Great
Where should it
question.
go? I think we both know the answer there, right?
Yep.
So, just to somewhat close, how can the community help? You're knocking on doors. There's lawn signs. I mean, tell me a little bit about how the community can help, and if they feel this strongly, how they can voice support and
Yeah.
make a difference themselves. Because I do think, like I said, the elected representatives, there is a point that they hit where it's like, okay, it's hard to say those three words, but I need to say them right now,
Yeah. Exactly.
especially because three of them are running for mayor.
Yes.
So
Exactly. Exactly. And that's been noted. Let me tell you.
I know there's some others running for mayor.
Yeah.
that very much support the situation that the firefighters are in right now. It's one of those things.
We're
I
keeping
know
a
there's
very
others,
close
right?
watch. Honestly, the main thing is that the main goal that needs to happen out of all of the information provided or anything that you see out there, the number one goal in all of this is to get that policy reversed.
Mm-hmm.
That station should not be left dark. That engine, sorry, should not be running out of that station with two members on it.
Mm-hmm.
It should have four people on it and it should never be closed down. That policy needs to go into the garbage
Mm-hmm.
immediately. After that, like I said before, yes, there is a staffing problem. And this is a problem that's been going on for years. And it's a problem that the city administration, no one dealt with.
Yeah.
And this, like you said, with the foundation
Yeah.
comment, if your house is crumbling down around you and you keep putting paint on it,
Yeah.
that's not going to help your issue. So
No.
unfortunately, we have a crumbled foundation, and it is going to take time. It's going to take money. It's going to take all of those things to rebuild that.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to start somewhere, and this policy isn't the way to start it. So that needs to go away. And then you need to start having that real dialogue with, well, I mean, administration, if you have to. Like, I don't know who you have
Mm-hmm.
those conversations with. Maybe that needs to be looked at. Firefighters should probably also be involved with the conversations, the union, like everyone should have been involved in these conversations. How do we fix this problem?
Mm-hmm.
How do we get ourselves back up to where we need to be? So those kinds of things obviously are going to be really hard for the new council and new mayor to address.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, yeah, you're being handed, for lack of better terms, a dumpster fire, and you're going to have to put it out. So,
Mm-hmm.
good luck. but this policy is putting our city and our firefighters at risk,
Yeah.
and that has to go away, and
Mm-hmm.
then we're going to have to figure out how to fix the problem.
Yeah.
As far as the community, honestly, the support is just
Mm-hmm.
incredible. Educate yourself. Like, look at, if you have questions, reach out. Follow the Red Deer Firefighters on Facebook. Look at their website. They have a website up, which can we link in your podcast or
Absolutely.
okay, we can link their website.
My podcast is separate from the campaign. They're two entities. And even though I'm talking about myself and what I'm doing, it's a separate thing. So
Yeah, definitely.
I do have my podcast on my website, so people can hear it from there as well.
Yep.
But yeah, you can
Yep.
link to me for sure.
Okay, perfect. Then we can link their website, and you can get information off the website. You can definitely reach out anytime. They're all more than willing and happy to talk to you, discuss what's going on and kind of what the current status is.
Mm-hmm.
This past weekend, we hit the 75 mark where that station has been left dark. So that's 75 times since January 2nd that this city has been impacted by a shorting of emergency services.
And we're 220 days in or around there.
Yeah. So that's some
That's
pretty
a third
crazy
of the time.
math, isn't it? Yes. It's incredible.
2.5 times a week.
Yeah. Yeah. It's insane.
Do you still have lawn signs if people want lawn signs?
We have lawn
Are you taking
signs.
donations because those are expensive? Or?
No, nothing like that.
Okay.
That's no word. It's information. Honestly, we've got the lawn signs. So yeah, you can definitely message Red Deer Firefighters through Facebook or through the webpage to request the lawn sign. Of course, I have a ton of information on my own personal Facebook page. You're welcome to check that out or message me if you want a lawn sign. Yeah.
Oh boy, you just opened yourself up.
There's really, the support is honestly, I think I used to encourage people to send emails to council to raise your voice about the issue. I used to direct people to do that. Obviously, that is still a great way to kind of like get your own feelings on paper kind of thing. However, don't expect a response because you most likely will not get one. But the biggest thing now is going to be pay attention during this election coming up. We are in an election year, and thank goodness we are, because we need change. And I think this city is so ready for change. I've seen that. I've heard that. I think that the citizens of Red Deer almost woke up in the last year, and we've just realized that, wait a minute, there is a lot of stuff going on that we haven't been paying attention to. And it's time to pay attention. And it's time to ask those hard questions of people like yourself. Like, where do you stand on these issues? Don't feed me a line anymore. I want to know exactly
Mhm.
where you stand on these issues. And that's what I'm going to be basing my votes on. And so, yeah, like I said, I pay attention to this election. Start following all these candidates on
Mhm.
Facebook. Start emailing them. Start having those conversations with them. The firefighters I know have a few things coming up that they're trying to plan. Trying to plan some information barbecues for the public where you can come out and
Mhm.
have a burger and have a conversation. They're talking about maybe attending farmers markets and handing out lawn signs, things like
Yeah.
that. There's brochures and stuff available. So if you want them for your business desk or
Mhm.
something like that, so they're available. You can always reach out and ask for some of those. So there's lots of ways to support. Honestly, if you see them, just thank them. Just let them know you
Mhm.
do hear them, you do see them, and this whole community is standing beside them. So
I just the other day I just stopped by Fire Hall. What is it? 3 Lancaster.
yeah,
And I just wanted to take some pictures of the building outside and just, for something else I'm working on. And they were working outside and they're training. And so I walked up to them and just asked their permission because obviously they're going to
yeah,
be in the photos. It's too far away to recognize, but I didn't want them thinking some weird guys taking
yeah,
pictures of. And I express, hey, look, I really support what you guys are dealing with right now. It was interesting because it seemed like they were just so joyful that hey, we got
yeah,
community members
yeah,
and they were just happy to have me go up there and just say, hey, I support what you guys are doing. And so I got my pictures and I said thank you and they
yeah,
continued their training. They were lifting up one of the ladders and they were hanging there. I don't know
yeah,
don't know what that was, but it was kind of cool. But yeah, I really encourage the community to reach out and just to express their support. And guys, we're gonna fix this. Like guys, we're gonna fix this.
yes,
Like we are going to fix this. And I mean, I need to get elected for that. I don't want to take things for granted, right? But I'm running for election. I hate talking about myself, but it's like I ask hard questions, right? I'm on a local board right now, and even though I agree with all these policies, it's just like the hard questions need to be asked, and then it's like, oh, someone brought that up, did they?
yeah,
And whether those happen behind closed doors or not, I will ask those hard questions. I will not sign paperwork that will gag me. I don't
yeah.
know if that happens, but I'm very much in support of what's happening here. And
I so
I
appreciate that.
applaud you.
Yeah.
I applaud you for all your hard work because
So it's a battle.
when this is over, what are you gonna do?
I'll tell you the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of Facebook.
And you're gonna sleep.
And I'm going to sleep at night. Yes.
All right. Well, any last word that you want to say?
No, this is great. I just really appreciate you taking the
Yeah.
time to get this message out. And I really appreciate the message that you're coming at us with as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. I'm just trying to listen. I'm trying to
Yeah.
learn, trying to do it a little differently than
Yeah.
what's normal. So yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so
All right.
much.
All right, guys, this is the wrap. So thank you for listening to the Calvin Goulet-Jones podcast. Make sure you get out there, support the firefighters. We're going to change the city for the better.
Yes, we are.